Last week, I had the chance to ride at Silver Mountain Bike Park in Kellogg, Idaho. I rode for 2 full days, and I think I got used to the trails and the park itself. In this video, I'll give a basic overview of the bike park itself, talk about the layout, and give you a guide to the area for the first time. At the end of the video, I'll give it a final score, just like in all my other reviews. We came to Silver because the U.S. Canadian border is closed, meaning we couldn't ride Whistler. I was left unsure of this park, so I'll tell you why. I've been posting a trail a day, and all of you were super hyped for the review, so let's get right into it. So first, Silver is in the town of Kellogg, Idaho, which is the upper part of the state, right between Washington and Montana. There isn't really much to do here besides mountain biking and skiing, but there is actually a 72-mile long paved gravel road that crosses the entire upper part of the state. There's also a museum towards the top, along with a few bike shops, a pool, and a water park. I've heard the water park is cool, but we didn't get around to it. The lodging in this area is okay, but there are only a few hotels. Ours was very nice and served its purpose. We stayed at the Morningstar Lodge, which was right next to the base of the gondola, and it was super convenient. The rooms were spacious and clean, so I give it a thumbs up there. I also want to talk about the food. It's not that great, and on top of that, there's only one decent restaurant. Even there, the service was slow, but the water was cold and the food was awesome. The final thing I want to talk about in the town is the general location. Kellogg is next to a river, and there's a path winding through the town. You actually ride on this after a run, but I'll talk about that later. The town is split by a road too, so on the left are 2 parking lots, and on the right is the gondola base and the hotels. I actually really enjoy the town because it's small and organized. I do have to say, there were some pretty weird people here, so just take note of that. Now I'll go over the bike park layout. So at the base of the gondola, you can cross under a sky bridge to the bike rental shop and the normal bike shop. I did rent a bike, and for the most part, it was good. They didn't tighten my left brake lever though, and my tires got pumped up to 40 psi or more. The bike's mechanics worked well, and I didn't have any shifting or suspension issues. I also love how they offer Norco bikes. I have a Norco Range Carbon that's in the shop, so I was immediately used to the geometry of the A2. The shop also gives Norco sights and giant trances as well. Back to layout, you take the gondola up to the bike trails. They say it's a 25-minute ride, but it's more like 17 and a half. From the base, the gondola looks short, but after the first hill, you go down and back up again, so it increases distance. The lift is fairly old, but the system works well. You put your bike in one of the cabins, then wait for the next, or run to the one in front. At the top, you grab your bike and walk it out to the main area outside. To the right is a trail map, and to the left is a seating area. On the front side of the gondola station, there are entrances for trails like Hammer and Payday. If you cross under the gondola, you reach the Skills Park. This is simply 3 rollable drops that progress in size, and it's not really a real skills park. This leads into another trail, eventually connecting to Crescent. From exiting the top station, you can also access an XC trail climbing all the way to the top of the ski trails. For mountain biking, there are 2 options. First, I'll talk about the Chair 3 runs. This isn't the main area for riding, but in my opinion, you should always do a warm-up lap on this side. The green trails are Payday, Cool Neatness, and Crescent. Crescent is the easiest of the 3, but they all have some berms and rollers. The blue runs on Chair 3 are Jackass and El Burro Loco. Jackass is supposed to be flowy with some rollers, jumps, and berms, but it's a super rough surface. El Burro Loco is a steep tech trail, and it's actually kind of hard. There are some steep sections into berms and a fairly difficult rock garden. The black trails are Snake Pit, Hammer, Log Jammin', Frankenbeans, and Hot Beans. Snake Pit, Frankenbeans, and Hot Beans are all standard tech trails with roots and rocks, and Log Jammin' is a different type of tech, with skinny bridges and steep drops. Hammer is the park's black flagship jump line, and it's a mix of tech and flow. Finally, the double blacks are Baby Swiss, Lower Log Jammin', and Hot Mess. They say Lower Log Jammin' is tech, but it has wooden features with flow to it. This was one of my favorite trails because all the features are intuitive and also really fun. Hot Mess is a steep tech trail with rocks, and Baby Swiss is a flow trail with a big drop and a step up. All of these trails lead you either directly to the bottom of Chair 3 or a road that you can take back to the base of the lift. I don't recommend spending most of your time over here because the lift is old, slow, and doesn't gain too much elevation, only 800 feet. The second option is to do a long gondola run, and the bike park crew set this up very well. You can choose to do all flow, all tech, or a mix down to the bottom. The green runs are lower payday, moose knuckle, frog trees, and low life. These trails are super chill and all have a rocky surface. Frog trees is more technical and contains some wooden bridges and roots. The blue trails are Morning Woods, Lower Jackass, Picnic Rock, Corkscrew, High Life, Afternoon Delight, Pepsi Can, Tinkerbell, Wildcat, and War Gerbil. Most of these are flow, but Morning Woods, Tinkerbell, and War Gerbil are all tech. My favorite flow trail is by far Corkscrew. Since it doesn't get ridden that much, the trail's in really good condition, and the endless berms make the trail super fun to ride. My favorite tech trail is War Gerbil, because its off-camber sections make it technically challenging for even expert riders. I also want to talk about High Life, my least favorite trail in the park. They label this as a flow trail, but it's just so rough. There are rocks everywhere like on all trails, but this is just bad. And since it's a connector trail too, you have to ride it, so that's just not proper maintenance. Anyway, I'll stop complaining and move on to the black trails, my favorite. These are Lower Hammer, Old School, Spooky Woods, Wide Open, Manchild, Pirate Trail, Secret Squirrel, Snaggletooth, Mutton Conductor, Goat Rodeo, Soup Kitchen, and Mom Jeans. Wow, that's a lot. Most of these are tech trails, as only Lower Hammer, Old School, Wide Open, and Manchild are flow. They say Pirate Trail is flow, but it rides like a tech trail. My favorite flow trails are Lower Hammer and Old School because the jumps are built well and there's some awesome gap potential, like this bridge gap on Old School. Old School has some jumps over 30 feet and they're super addicting. The landings are very hard on you on your bike though because the rocks are more prime than the dirt. The best black tech trail is easily Spooky Woods. Though it doesn't have many rocks or steep sections, it is a nice narrow trail where you just plow through roots. There are also some fun little drops on it too. So those are all of Silver's trails for the gondola run, and when you're at the bottom, one of the most unique things happens. Since the town of Kellogg is between the gondola and trail exits, they can't make trails exit to the base. All of the runs end about 1.5 miles from the town, so you ride the path I mentioned earlier back. I actually really enjoy riding this because its setting is right next to the river, so you get a great view and a breeze of wind as well. Before I give Silver a final score, let's talk about the pros and cons of making the trek out here. If you come, there are some serious pros. First of all, the trail variety is outstanding. There's a trail for everyone here. Whether you're a beginner getting into mountain biking or an experienced rider, you will find a trail that you love. Also, the technical trails at Silver are great quality and there are a lot of them too. You can choose between rocks, roots, or both, which is a really nice touch. Also, the jumps at Silver Mountain are built very well. You won't find any lips that nose kick you, and they are all super progressive. There are many more pros, but these are the main ones I could think of. Now for the cons, and there are two. The first one is the staff. The people in the bike rental shop were not nice at all, and seemed demanding as well. The gondola operators were super demanding at the top, as they kept yelling at me to get my bike off. They didn't just seem to care. The next con is the main problem with Silver, and it's the flow trail quality. In 90% of the spots, the rocks appeared more than the dirt. This is especially true on landings because it just hurts to land. Also, the backsides of rollers are just piled with rocks and they don't even bother to sift their dirt. All of the trails get super blown out too because it hardly rains in Kellogg. Though you may not see it on camera, these flow trails are extremely rough and uncomfortable, so just take note of these two things. With that said, my final score for Silver Mountain Bike Park is a 7 out of 10. I like the layout, trail variety, and many other things about this place. You can progress fast, and there's a lot of small lines to try out. The flow trail quality, though, is some of the worst I've ever seen, and the staff also aren't the best. I think I will definitely come back to this place on my own bike at some point, but I hope they do some more trail maintenance. Those are my thoughts on Silver Mountain in Kellogg, Idaho. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.